And it says we're live here. Welcome back to Crypto Hulk. I'm going to go over a disclaimer and get right to business. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got 4 pages of notes. I don't know how much we're going to get through. um, what we'll do is we'll gauge this after the members only show. We'll decide if you want me to continue with this tomorrow or it's Crypto Hulk. Thank you. That's enough. But it's a really heavy deep dive and we're kind of getting burned out. It's up to you. Let me know after this. I can keep studying and breaking down Codius. It might be a 2 to 3 show kind of a deal. I'm not sure. Just let me know how we're doing at the end of the show if you want to learn more. My name's Crypto Hulk, not a financial advisor, not a crypto advisor, nothing at all. I'm just here completely to get every one of you financially destroyed in the poorhouse, beggars. And that's it. If I tell you to do something, just know that that advice will financially destroy you. And with that, Henry Brown. Henry, any thoughts of Cardano CEO trending video? Yeah, Henry. Charles knows he's going to get wrecked. Okay. I've already told you guys. Ripple comes out with everything as we need it. As stuff moves forward. Like Ripple just announces they've got smart contracts and NFT. Just like that over the past 3 months. Like, whoa, where'd that come from, right? I'm going to tell you something. Since the beginning, no, let's say from the beginning, I don't want to say since, but from the beginning, we all know this has all been planned out. I think all of this, even the past 10 years, has been a show. We know the court hearings, everything's a fucking show, right? That's what I truly believe. I think all this stuff was already done. I've got evidence that I could read off to show you, like, all this stuff's planned. Like the technology, look, smart contract shit's been around since the 60s. Since the 1960s, we've had smart contracts in cryptographic. Yes. All this shit's been around. We're just finding, like Bitcoin. I'm gonna tell you what, Bitcoin is like the end of the old school, and Ripple's the starting of the new. Ethereum is the end of the old school technology. Bitcoin was the experiment. We're gonna go over this. This Ethereum thing, look, we're gonna get into a little conspiracy. It's very exciting. There's a lot of learning that we're gonna do, but this is one of these where if you've got a tech friend, like, look, I'm not a tech person, not even. This show, I avoid the heavy tech of the white paper, but I got to bring in some tech to teach you. So, Peter Pan, PolySign board member David Schwartz, Antoinette Gorman, previous CCO at Ripple, and Arthur Brito, co founder of Ripple. We all know where this is all going. Brilliant, Peter Pan. Yes, these people, look, I'm telling you. Now, I got to be careful on this channel. I can't lose it, all right? So, if I say the word like temp agency, it means without the temp, okay? Uh, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about a private company either. I got to be really, really careful on this because in America, we can't tell the truth anymore. That's how it is. I got to pretend like we're in Russia or China. Okay. That's how America is right now. So I'm pretty good at tech, says Tekken, Texas Monster. All right. Let me get into this. Tekken Monster. Okay. This is some heavy shit that I'm paraphrasing all of this, or like my notes, condense it. Let's say this. I paraphrase where I have to, and I'll read off text where I have to. I'm not going to show you the article, and the reason I'm not is because I had to go to hell and back to find it. I have the original papers here, the website, the colory buttons. It's all it's original. Other people are going to have a retyped version of this, but they don't have the full 100%. I've got the intro and the exit. They just got the main portion. So I've got the real deal. Here we go. Something you will not hear on any other channel. Look, deep dives, I'll barely get, like right now, 86 people. Okay. When I do a deep dive, it's for you, the nerds out there, that totally want to know the more advanced shit, because now you're going to see how the smart contracts that we know of today are fucking done. I'm going to prove to you right now. It's not just my opinion. Fuck it. Let's get into the actual news and I'll show you I'm right. And even when I'm wrong, still right. Here we go. The title of it's called Smart Oracles, a simple, powerful approach to smart contracts. It was made by Stefan Thomas from Ripple and Evan Schwartz. Now, here's that last name again, Evan Schwartz. I believe this to be David Schwartz's brother. They're both crypto software engineers for Ripple. What are the odds of two guys with the last name with the same job title not being related? My BS meter goes off. I say it's David's brother. If it's not, so what? It is. And we don't hear much about him. The Evan Schwartz guy, I know he worked for Ripple. He had a lot of press coverage doing some other things, but David's the different one. David's like the deep coder kind of, I don't know, but just, I've never really heard anything. I've never heard anything about Evan Schwartz on YouTube ever. Now, I know if you type it in, you'll find all kinds of shit, but I'm just saying nobody reports on him. I just don't know why. Maybe we shouldn't know about him. Maybe he's one of the Satoshis. Like I'm keeping everything open. All these people's names. Okay. Nick Szabo. Nick is the first name. Szabo. Szabo. It's quoted in the opening paragraph. So in the very, very beginning of this white paper, Nick Szabo's published most of his work about smart contracts in 1997. I think David Schwartz, Evan Schwartz, all these guys kind of know each other. They all know. Here's a conspiracy. They all know who this Satoshi is. I say it's the country we live in, and I'll leave it at that. Okay? Gotta watch what I say because I know the little spies are watching me. Number 3, overview. Smart oracles are the boss of the smart contract. So here's how it goes. You got smart okay. Think of the military. The grunts are the cryptocurrency. They're the ones that don't have any brains. Then you got smart contracts, which are probably like your sergeants, E5s in the army. Then you have oracles, which are like your E6, which is like a staff sergeant. Then you got your smart contracts, which are like your, I want to say like your E7, sergeant first class or some shit like that. Okay. That's how the shit's getting ran. So the oracle can tell the smart contract what to do, but the smart oracle, that's the one calling the shot for the foot soldier. Now you've got to make a smart oracle, and that would probably be like your first sergeant. And the brains behind all this fucking shit, which we don't know, probably 3 to 4 Satoshis, that's like your sergeant majors in the army, okay? So if you're in the military, you pretty much understand what the fuck I just said. If you're not, you probably have no idea, and that's fine. You'll learn. So XRP is the general. Okay, so what I learned was that smart oracles are the boss. They determine where all this stuff, how all this stuff goes down. What is Ethereum? What is Chainlink? What is Cardano? Those are all crypto smart contracts, right? Right. Okay. But they're not oracles, are they? No, they're not. And they're definitely not smart oracles, are they? No, they're not. Oh, not looking good, is it? For those 3. Melissa G. You'll get the rest when I make my millions. Aww. That's cool. Hey, you guys, whatever it is, you know, it's just, I want to focus here. I'm very grateful for that, whatever you got, and stuff. I'm doing this to make sure, and watch this video once or twice till you really get it. Because when you really get this stuff, you wouldn't mess with no fucking Cardano, Chainlink, or Ethereum. Because I'm teaching you now what the heck is going on. Ripple's got something advanced. It's called Codius. Codius is an implementation of code from Google. Google has something called native client. It's trusted code. Code helps get stuff done. It's like directions. You read the directions and how do you make a cake or something? That's what code is. It tells the grunt. The code tells the cryptocurrency, which is the grunt, what to do, how to do it, jump up high, tap your head, rub your tummy, okay, at the same time. Code is needed to be in a smart contract. Got it? But you need trusted code because sometimes it's just like, you download. Y'all remember when you're in your 18 years old and you download a particular kind of movie? I've never done this. Even when the internet came out, I was like 27 or somewhere in there. And I never downloaded anything questionable. But then sometimes you catch a virus. I'm talking about just through the internet, nothing else. You know what I mean? No comment on the other stuff. So where are we going with this? Hey, I'm trying to have some fun here in the nerd world. So trusted code, Google has a sandbox called Google Native Client, and it has codes in there that contract authors, when you make a smart contract, like think of a contract. You buy a car, you got a contract, right? You'll pay, like $500 a month for the next 36 months, and then okay. Smart contracts are electronic, cryptographically sealed contracts. Nobody can understand the contract unless you hold your keys. And you all know what your private keys are. It's that 25 number word passphrase thing, right? So somebody like, I want to buy your car from you. We sit down and we talk about how much is the cars cost, all these things. If I lose my job, what happens? That we put all that in the contract till I buy the car. Got it? Just think of all this as crypto. Okay, it's the same fucking thing. I'm trying to break it down so the 50-year-old, 80-year-old lady in New Jersey or little old lady in New Jersey can get it. We agree on all this contract stuff. Then we find an outside person who will make the contract for us by using trusted code in Google's native client sandbox. Do you kind of get it? So once the person, whoever that person, it's a third party, somebody, not you and not me, somebody in the middle, they will make this code. Richard K asking for a friend. How could one buy XRP in New York around the uphold form? Richard, somebody told me that in New York you should use a VPN. A VPN hides your address and stuff, so when people buy stuff, now don't do it because it's illegal. A better way is to go to like coins.ph, changenow.io, use a VPN, attempt to buy a particular crypto. If that person can't, what I heard people do, now don't do this, is they find a friend in another state that lives in a normal state, shoot them some money, use their credit card, order it for them, do all these kind of things. But don't do any of these things in an attempt to evade the law in your state, because that would be me aiding and abetting you. I don't want you to do any of these things. I'm just telling you what other people do so that you don't do them because they're illegal. Got it? All right. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for just the random donation. All donations on this channel are given freely. Questions are not tied to donations. I'll just answer a question for any reason. It has no donation or not, it doesn't matter. So let's not tie the donation to a criminal response. Not going to happen. All the little district attorneys watching here. I don't exchange questions for money, so we can get that fucking straight. And they're like, right now, they're like, damn it, we can't use this in court. Yeah, I just fucked up by trying to bust Crypto Hulk. So, oracles tell the smart contract. Let's start here. Okay, yeah. Oracles tell the smart contract the state of the world outside of the contract. So inside of a contract, you have cryptocurrency as the grunt, and then you have the smart contract. Now, the smart contract doesn't know when certain things happen. Like it doesn't know when it's Tuesday. So, or it's like Monday morning, your mom coming in, flicking on the light, time to get up for school. Mom is the oracle that tells the smart contract, which is the kid sleeping in the bed, you never want to get up, that you got to walk to school. That's the cryptocurrency to do something. Okay, that's kind of how that shit works. Peter Pan, thank you very much. Uphold is just reporting the in and out transaction because they have to report to the IRS. No, they don't. They choose to report. The IRS will then go after everyone based on social security numbers. Hopefully, Congress will defund these mofos. They're going to end up seeing me in court because we have no crypto regulation. Therefore, the IRS cannot do a fucking thing to any of us. Okay. Now, they can take us to court. Please take me to court. And then when I'm in court, I'm going to ask the IRS, hey, whip out the United States Code and show the whole court you don't even know the definition, IRS, of what a crypto is because you don't make the definition. Oh, it'll be a sad day when they take my ass to court. I want to, because I want to look at them and say, go fuck yourself for wasting time in this courtroom, assholes. Okay, Crypto She-Hulk, member for 4 months. Thank you, Peter Pan, for your donation. All right. So oracles tell the smart contract. Oracles like the mother waking the child up who's sleeping, and the actual work the child has to do to get up and walk to school. That's the cryptocurrency. Okay. So the oracle tells the smart contract, Crypto Hulk paid his bill this month. Everything's good. Next month, so the oracle tells it now. But the smart oracle, we'll get into that one a little bit later. But it actually executes the code. The oracle gives information to the smart contract. Well, the oracle gives information to like the sleeping kid. Hey, it's 7 o'clock. Time to get up. The smart oracle, it's kind of like when the mom brings in a paddle and whoops the kid's butt and gets his ass up. That's kind of how that works. Okay, that's the relationship. And oracle's like the mother, and when she grabs that fucking paddle, that executes action. Trust and believe. Okay. The smart contract adds contract code execution, just like I said. With smart oracles, code can be written in any language, and the smart contract can interact with any service that accepts cryptographic commands. So here's the difference now. When you've got a smart contract, like Ethereum doesn't have smart contracts that I'm aware of. That's why they use a virtual machine. You've heard of the Ethereum virtual machine? It acts as if it's a smart contract, and it's very inefficient. You know, the proof of work shit and all, it takes tons of money. Okay, smart contracts are lightning fast, super cheap, on and on. It's newer technology. Old technology uses virtual machine, and it's very good quality from what I've studied, but it's just slow. You got to use lots of computers and shit. The smart oracle, that's why the name is smart oracle. So they might have oracles, but they're not smart. Member for 4 months. I don't know who that was, and they took away a comment. I think I already read it. Richard K. Wait, I already got that one. Okay. Got to keep track on this because I miss them on occasion. All right. So with smart oracles, this is why it's important. Ripple has great smart oracles because they're using Google's native code sandbox for those that code. All right. Ethereum doesn't have this. Nobody has this. That's why Ripple is going to have something. That's why Ripple has something called Codius, okay, which implements smart oracles using Google's native code. Nobody has this fucking shit, all right? And that's what Flare is going to be. We'll get into all that stuff later, maybe a little bit. Let me see. So With smart oracles, code can be written in any program language. You can't write in any program language with Bitcoin, Ethereum, none of these others. You know how what we call distributed ledger technology? Ripple's ledger can interact with all the other ones. Bitcoin, no. Ethereum, no. See, there's so they can't do it. When XRP was designed by the most brilliant minds, it's a distributed ledger. Anybody can drive on that highway. And here they have smart oracles that can be, and you can write code in whatever language and it'll work with the XRP ledger. Nobody has that, okay? Other channels are not going to get into talking about this, but I am. So I'm showing you now how Ripple has already won. They've won with something called Codius. It's a Codius implementation. It uses smart contracts in Google's native code. That's why, see, Charles Hodgkins knows this. Charles Hodgkins is trying to act like the smart oracle and to outdo Google's native. Charles ain't gonna, it's not gonna happen. I'm just letting you know. Ethereum is never gonna happen. They're using virtual machine, for God's sake. That shit's old. Okay? So I'm giving you facts on why these other chain links, same fucking thing, old school shit ain't gonna work. Hey, you can drive a Ford Model T, absolutely. You can at 33 miles an hour down the road or 17 miles an hour down the road, but I'm gonna have a Lamborghini. It's called Ripple, and I'm gonna be cruising down the road at 150 miles an hour. Does your smart contract work? Yeah, a Model T works, right? You get the point? But you'd want the best smart contract, which won't be Chainlink, Ethereum, or Cardano. But you can talk to other, like I know Digital Asset and has announced that he's all for Cardano, has got money, and I don't have a fucking dime in Cardano because it's fucking garbage. Because I know the truth. Okay, these other people don't. So law. Okay, so you got law networks that can use this business network. See, Ripple has planned ahead of time. The law in the United States will be using these smart oracles. Business will be using these smart contracts of Ripple, the NFTs, the business smart oracles. Everything's gonna be running on this. That's how I know I'm on the winning team. Okay. Let me continue. Let's see. My eyesight's getting a little bad here, buddy. This includes cryptocurrency networks, law, and business. So Ripple says, we introduce the implementation of smart oracles. That's called Codius. Codius is when smart oracles are implemented into code and getting stuff done. Nobody has this with Google's native client, which is the best code. Nobody has the brains and the quality product like Ripple. All this shit was done in, remember now, 2014. So that's 10 to be 24. 8 years ago. This shit was already done. Like I said, they're lollygagging. The whole court thing is a bullshit and all that. You're hearing it all in crypto. I'm proving to you everything I'm saying is right. I'm saying here is right. It says, we introduced the implementation of smart oracles. Charles didn't even have shit. This Cardano's fucking dumbass shit. Ethereum, same fucking thing. It's all like old school 1960s technology. That's what Ethereum is. The virtual machine, that shit's been around like in the 70s. That's not even high tech anymore, you know? Think of a computer in the 1970s. It was fucking garbage, all right? Let's see. So to break this down, okay, we got that. Definitions. Okay, smart contracts. Smart contracts are programs that formally encode certain conditions and outcomes. So a smart contract will say, if on the first of every month, if Crypto Hulk makes the car payment, then this contract is still good. Next month comes along. Crypto Hulk made the car payment, therefore this contract's good. The Oracle will tell the smart contract, okay, we're at 40 months on a lease. We're at 36 months on Crypto Hulk's lease on his Infinity. Every payment's been made, this, that, contract fulfilled. So that's what the Oracle does, the smart contract. Then the smart contract will X out of it. But the Oracle can give the information, but it's the smart oracle. The smart oracle that executes it. It makes the smart contract actually do what it's got to do. Whether that's continue in the contract or end the contract due to different things. So the smart oracle is the brains. The code is agreed upon in advance. The code in the contract must come from neutral parties, like I said. So you're in your contract, you're not going to make it, and then your friend's going to sign it. No, the code comes from outside people. Google Sandbox is the choice for Ripple. An oracle. The title of this section is Oracle. Some smart contracts, now listen, like Bitcoin, are deterministic, okay? Bitcoin relies on oracles to see what's going on outside the world. Smart oracles, that's the next section. Smart oracles execute the code in the contract. There are other ways to perform the role of a smart contract. So you don't have to have smart contracts, but they're like the latest and greatest, like the most advanced, okay? That's what Ripple has, the latest. We just learned, maybe it's 2 months ago, Ripple came out with smart contract capabilities. They already had it. Then they also announced, oh, we can do NFTs. They can do a whole lot of shit they're not telling us. They're not telling us about Codius, but what the smart contract now will take orders from an oracle. No, it'll learn from an oracle, but the smart contract will tell the smart oracle will tell the smart contract what to do and will get done. Ethereum uses a virtual machine, okay? Ethereum doesn't have smart oracles to do this. And there's like 5 different ways. There's 5 different, maybe 6 different ways you could replace a smart oracle, but it's old school. It takes forever. It's expensive and this and that. That's what these other cryptos do. They're smart contracts, just like Ripple is, but Ripple has the most advanced brains. Think of the brains. So that's the thing. Ripple has something called a smart oracle, which runs on Google native client. There's other people who got, like I said, virtual machines, and they got this and consensus, whatever. It's not the best way. The best way is a smart oracle way with the Google native client sandbox. Okay, that's the best way. It's the most efficient, fastest, and the cheapest. A virtual machine is just an example. Like I said, they also run outside of the system and do not run as a layer 2. I talked about VeChain, and they got off of the trying to think the 20 ARC20 or ERC20. Ethereum, or no, VeChain came up with something else to help it. That's they're trying to bypass a smart oracle, from what I understand. So they're running this code alongside. So it's not a layer 2 on VeChain, the solution to get away from Ethereum. They're doing something else that's trying to act like a smart oracle. Okay, it's not as good, but they're trying at least. Ed Doxy, hot damn, I made it to class. Whew, we're learning, dude. I've got half of a page left. I think we'll discuss it and call it a wrap, because I've got a whole nother page. My brain's not going to fucking make it, dude. This is hard to fucking teach this shit. I'm trying to take stuff that I didn't understand 2 days ago and try to give it to you in a format that makes sense and is simple, okay? Next, the smart contract code author. So when you make a smart contract, there's somebody called the author that makes it, okay? Then there's 2 or more parties in that contract, okay? And then there's the contract owner. So maybe Infinity would be the contract owner with me. And then the people in the contract would be me and Infinity, but somebody else would be like the contract author that would actually make that contract. Here we go with the next section, public and private keys. We all know what private keys are. These keys enable messages to be encrypted, okay? or translated into a seemingly random set of characters. So that's why we have like a 25 number, 25 word, what they call passphrase or seed phrase. And that's how you keep your contracts private, so nobody can read your contracts. Distributed networks. So you've heard of distributed ledger technology. So Ripple is a distributed network, and there's a consensus database. Okay, more of like nodes, 80%. Like on the Ripple network, you got to have 80% of the nodes agree, and then transactions are validated and so forth. Okay. Let's see. From oracles to smart oracles, several earlier designs. So now we're going to talk early designs of crypto. It's going to be like Bitcoin. So think of that when I'm discussing here. Several earlier designs of smart oracles and oracles have existed some time. Early designs like Bitcoin and others. I'm going to read a little more. Early design like Bitcoin have relied on what they call executing the contract with consensus. Think of mining, okay? And Bitcoin relies on executing because Bitcoin has smart contracts built into it. Bitcoin relies on executing contracts with consensus. That means whoever wins the math problem that Bitcoin has and stuff, they solve the problem or whatever it is, so they get that contract completed. Okay. They use consensus and networks, leading to the requirement that their execution be deterministic. More advanced platforms like Codius places contract execution in the hands of smart oracles, completely different. Listen to this. Codius, instead of having mining, which is ancient, old school and stuff, very expensive, total waste, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all these other proof of work cryptos. Codius places contract execution in the hands of smart oracles, not mining, not nodes. Codius uses smart oracles and generalizes and simplifies the system significantly. So that's where we're going to end it. That's what Codius does. It uses smart oracles to accomplish validating a trend. It's the brains. It doesn't, you don't have to have nodes on a network, okay? You don't need nodes on a network with Codius because you're using Google's native client, trusted code in a sandbox. You're using smart oracles, and those working together, you can use different kinds of language. You can use different kinds of programming, like script or code. Or I don't know all this shit, right? I'm trying to remember what I've studied. Whereas with the Bitcoin and Ethereum, you've got to do certain specified things because it has to. Where you have to. Everybody's got to speak English, or everybody's got to speak Chinese. But the thing with the Codius is that you can speak different languages, computer languages, and it'll get done. Like the smart contract, no, the smart oracle will interpret it. If something comes to at it in Chinese, like a computer language, if something comes at, and even did like the code, like SMPT or XMPP. I'm not familiar with all the, the computer stuff, but what the smart oracle can do with the Google native client is allow someone to speak to you in Chinese. The smart oracle interprets it, translates it into something else, and it keeps going on the journey. Whereas these other systems can't do that. And if they do, it's going to take fucking forever because you got to get all these computers, do all this consensus. Everybody has to agree. Whereas smart oracle, bam, gets it done like that. These other things might take 5 minutes, 3 minutes or something. So you see the difference with the Codius? It's like it's light speed. That's why It's going to put Ethereum's out of business. They use a virtual machine. They don't have smart oracles. So that's what I'm trying to teach you. And I got VeChain, and it's not as advanced as, now remember, XRP, Ripple, and all that stuff. It's for payments. VeChain is a supply chain logistics, so it's got a different purpose. It doesn't maybe need to be as fast or the same or whatever. It's a different crypto. Okay, so let me focus back on what I just did. Let's kind of conclude this. I'm going to kind of briefly go over what we discussed to let you know, and then let me know if you want me to keep teaching on this tomorrow, because there's some good stuff in the white papers. So we went over how Ripple's going to take over. I'm just letting you know, all right? All this stuff was planned by the country we live in. It's a new payment system. It's going to take over the entire world. We went over a lot of the early stuff in the 1960s and 70s and late 90s. A lot of these cryptos we have today were from the 60s, 70s, and 90s. Okay. They worked back then. But since then, there's been a company called Ripple and Stellar. You might have heard of them. These are the most advanced ones with the most government backing, and probably the most three-letter temp agencies you could imagine helping them create this. Kind of like, yeah, I'll leave it at that. So what we have is a lot of these Bitcoin, Ethereum, these were all tests. They were experiments from the past. You know, that's why Bitcoin, no one knows who made it, because it was some kind of a test. I don't understand all these. I don't have all the answers, but I know there's a lot of funny business going on, and our government is right there with it. Okay. So what they did is they found the best way to execute transactions and control contracts, and that's through something called the Codius implementation, also known as Codius. Okay, Codius is a crypto smart contract oracle, smart oracle, all wrapped up and together using Google's. Now Google's right in here. Look, I'll bet you Google's probably the one that invented Bitcoin with some government people. All right. So you've got Google's native client in a sandbox protected with a bunch of codes and shit. And that's how these transactions are going to be done in the future in law, business, supply chain logistics. It's all going to work together with, maybe, I'm sure Codius is going to be working with VeChain and everybody else, because nobody has the better smart oracles. Nobody has a better implementation than Ripple Codius mixed in with Google and three-letter agencies. That's how this shit ends, okay? So that's how, then at the end, what will happen is our government will take this Codius for itself and control the world. That's what I truly believe will happen. Let me check some last-minute questions. And if you want me to do this more tomorrow, I can. I'm only going to do this shit for 30, 35 minutes because it drains my fucking brain. All right. It's something, you know how, like, if you don't really know something and you try to really learn it, it just fucking sucks all the energy out of you. So I don't mind doing this again, but just, I'm only going to do it if people really want to learn this stuff. All right. So let me check some comments and maybe about another 5 more minutes. Vulcan Aussie, great informative show. Breaking it down so we can get a grasp. We are, but you can send us. Indeed, Vulcan. Indeed. Hi, Hulk, says Spencer C. Excellent content again. Thanks for keeping us informed. This is important information to know. Please keep going with it. Says Resbuild. Oh, Julie Renee says, I like it. Also, what you can do is take notes. And then, you can pause it, write something down. Then you'll have those notes to remind you, because you're going to probably forget a lot of this shit. But if you take notes as you watch this and pause it, then keep those notes somewhere about smart contracts. And then when someone says, "Oh, I'm getting Cardano," and you can go right through here and say, "Well, that's not going to work because Cardano requires consensus. And they don't have smart oracles to tell the oracle what to do, so they're going to require on a virtual machine of some sort." And da 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 da. I mean, tomorrow. Once I get through this whole Codius, it'll probably take 3 to 4 shows. at about 30 minutes a pop, something like 35 minutes. Then you'll understand perfectly why there's no other smart contract, Oracle, whatever, besides Ripple. You'll know. We've only done about a third of it. All right. All right. Julie Renee, I like it. Black Cookie. Yes, please. Mr. Holt, continue. F says good subject. Mark Horna, absolutely amazing show. Ass kisser. Codius will be a yield machine. Okay, now good. That's the Flare network. See, you notice how I'm gonna tell you something. Flare is Codius. That's just what I truly believe. Flare, they've been holding this motherfucking Flare thing up. Flare was all ready to go 2 years ago. It was all ready to go. And all of a sudden, the court thing happened. Now they got one excuse after another, after another, after they keep stalling the fuck out of this thing because Flare is like what I'm teaching you now is the future. You're gonna know what what Flare and all this shit is. That's what he's talking about. Will be a yield machine. That's what this is. You'll do DeFi. Everything will be all this smart contract, smart Oracle shit. That's what I'm trying to get at. These contracts will be the future. Okay, and it'll be controlled. You won't have to have all these nodes and shit, right? That's what smart oracles do. You won't have to have consensus in mining. Smart oracles with the Google's native client code, that's the brains of this whole thing. Like the machines are fucking taking over. You got it? Like same thing with Terminator. I don't know the name of that company. Sky. You guys know what the fuck is the name of it? Sky. What's the name in the Terminator that company? Sky Logistics or what the fuck? You guys know Skynet. Yeah, that's the fuck. That's what it is. Who said that? Eric M. Fucking exactly. Codius is Skynet. Okay, get this shit right. It's gonna have the contracts and all this fucking shit. The smart oracles of these little fucking Terminators coming out and shit. Smart oracles that come out and blast you. Okay, that's what it is. The machines are taking over. I don't know what they're gonna need us for. I really don't. Tequila Fund 2. Brilliant name. How I viewed Flare Codius is if Ripple is the guy in the room, Flare is like the salesman and uses the wrap tokens to create a yield for the stakers' liquidity pool, which makes it a crypto security. Yes. The brains of it all. Look, you got the cryptocurrency, which is the grunt. The smart contract's a little bit higher, but it's still not smart enough to know what's going on outside of that code program, whatever it is. So that's where the Oracle comes in and lets it know. But it still can't do anything because the smart Oracle has to tell it to. Now, if it doesn't have a smart Oracle, then it's one of these lower grade smart contracts that uses virtual machine or some other form of consensus method to execute the contract and make it keep going. Okay. So the smart Oracle, but then you need somebody to make the contract. So that's the contract author. Then you got members of the contract, people involved in the contract. So maybe me and 5,000 other people, we stake a crypto or buy a certain crypto. So that's what I'm saying. So all this comes together. It's Skynet. Skynet, they're taking over. The robots are taking over. All right. Thank you, Tequila Fund 2. Skynet. Yes, that's what it is. Great show. Thanks for the explaining Codius, says Rico Force 44. Skynet. Yeah, this shit's fucking scary. Artificial intelligence. I'm telling you, all these fucking robots are taking over, man. Maybe one day they'll replace me. That'll be sad. I won't get to do my show anymore. They'll have a robot that's 10 million times smarter and funnier with way better jokes than me. That's it. Volky Austin said, that's it. The Matrix, our body supplies the energy. Oh, God, they're going to hook us up to these machines and our hearts are pumping, powering all the computers. That would be seriously scary. I'm all plugged in and all this shit, and then my whole life will be just so this computer. Because, our bodies are a battery. Our body has electric in it. Our body has electric charge. That's with potassium, sodium, calcium, all that shit. We're a fucking battery. So it won't be long before Vitalik Buterin and all these crazy wackos will decide how to utilize the human body as battery power for robots. Then we'll just be like hanging upside down in these movies and shit, or laying in these beds, and our energy will give Skynet all the power it needs. That'll be pretty fucked up. um, Odysseus Codius. Do you think something will happen around the 15th? Dude, that's all, man. That shit could have happened next year around June. I got an article up here about Hong Kong. Well, it's going to be around like March, April, May, June. Somewhere in there is when this shit should be taken off as far as crypto regs. But all this hocus pocus, Charles, what's his fucking face, talk about the 15th. Man, that's all just hype shit, right? Mark Horna, Hulkaholicism, whatever the fuck that is. Stealing the loose. Marvin, my want to hold my hand. Being done. Okay. Tekken, very interesting sense of humor with that young lad. You should seek counseling for some of your comments. You might have some underlying issues. Great learning session. Okay, then tomorrow I'll do another one. I've got about 2 pages with that. And it's just very fascinating because what I like to do is see how the future is going to unravel. So it's a little techie. It's not that tough. Black Cookie's been around for 4 months. Sucker. But yeah, I think I'll call it a wrap. Tomorrow's show. Today's Sunday, so I usually can get the show started earlier. Because Monday through Friday, I got lots of obligations. Sometimes I can't get here till 6 or 7 to get the show going. So tomorrow's show is about 6:30. I could be here at 6:30 or 7. I don't know if certain. Okay, so here's my smart contract for tomorrow. If I don't have certain obligations at 6 o'clock, then I can have a show at 6:30. My other contract would be, but if I do have an obligation at 6 and 6:30, then the show will be at 7. That's your fucking smart contract, all right? All right, I'm done. I got to get going. I'll see you guys tomorrow, more than likely with another Codius.